curriculum, my thinking is that we simply don't know what kids are going to need to know.
Yeah.
In the future, we don't know what the economy is going to look like. And I thought,
Right.
20 years ago, 50 years ago, when I was in school, I thought, an engineering degree would be this golden thing. It's not
Right.
anymore.
Right.
And our economy has transformed. So we simply don't know what people are going to need to know. We don't.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet, though, despite agreeing with your point, that self-discipline will always be important, self-regulation will always be important, and that people that have the power to control their short-term impulses in favor of long-term goals are always going to do pretty well. And I don't think that our educational system is really geared towards that. So it's geared at best for the people who aren't at the top. There's sorts of vocational things, and those vocational things end up being outdated. So you teach kids how to fix cars, and then you teach them how to fix carburetors, and then their fuel injection systems, they don't really know how to code. So I think that we want to develop a kind of plasticity to use.
Do you get any example of a school? Because you did all this
yeah,
research.
no,
Some
absolutely.
schools that are doing this, and have they been successful?
Well, first of all, there's a model called the community practice model. Do you guys all know about this?
No.
Okay, so it's an anthropology study. I always am shocked by, no one I've ever mentioned it to has ever been like, oh yeah, community practice.
It sounds like a kibbutz to me.
I know.
Well, basically, it's an anthropological study in 1991. It's Jean Wenge, W-E-N-G-E, and Etienne Langer, and they decided to study communities without schools. So they studied midwives in the Yucatan, tailors in West Africa, and addicts in recovery in a city like Chicago. And so how do people learn things when there's no schools? Well, turns out there's a process. Basically, a community practice, first of all, they define they're engaged in a shared task with a shared understanding of the goal. Very simple, right? And then people apprentice themselves to the community. They come up. There's this thing called legitimate peripheral participation, which is you're doing something that's important to the community but very small and simple to do. So you're helping, basically, and watching. And then you have a relationship with someone within the circle who's a mentor. And then you immediately become a mentor at the same time, because you have to, it takes so much time to teach the newbies that, you have to, as a one step up from newbie, you have to spend your time teaching the newbie the thing that you just learned. So that's a constant process. But I think the real key to it is the task involved, the idea that everything you do, you're never just practicing. You're practicing, but it's the practice. So you're doing the thing, and you're never just practicing the thing. And the theory all comes along in the learning of it, where someone makes a mistake and they say, oh, we never do it this way because whatever. There's some legend to describe why we never do it this way. But the point is, you're learning the theory along with the practice. And I think what's so key about that is when you talk about what do we need to know, and I think that's a really good question. Well, a great way to start and to learn this discipline would be to be working on things that are useful right now for what we need right now, and learn those practices and those habits of mind, and then you can advance from there.
What ages of kids were in the study you're describing?
Well, with the midwives, it would be I started helping my aunt when I was 5 years old. Depending on what it is, depending on how complicated it is, basically. Same thing for the tailors. The addicts would be a little older.
But isn't the model of learning from the people above you a little limited in that you need to learn something different? The increasing specialization that goes on kind of results in global technological growth and advancement. Isn't a lot of that driven by people breaking from that tradition of my father was a cobbler and I'm going to do that too?